That's not even my baby, that's just plastic. But this one's my baby. I ate the avocado and I planted the thing and then it grew. And currently it's a bit wilted because I might have forgotten to water her for a bit, but it's fine. She's gonna come back. Hello everybody. So today I wanted to make a video about something that I've discovered over the years of learning different languages. And that is the fact that I am really damn glad that I've never had to learn or study German. Before I get into my reasons of why I never want to learn or have to study German, hi, welcome. My name is Janice and I make videos about learning languages, sometimes more specifically geared towards my learning Korean. I make videos about living in Switzerland. More recently, I've added my eating disorder recovery to the list of topics that I will be discussing on this channel. If any or all of that sounds interesting to you, you can have a look around on my channel and you might find something you enjoy. And if you do, why not stick around? It's a pun with my username. Over the years, I've met many different people from many different countries, and a lot of them have wanted to learn German, but a lot of them have said that German is really freaking hard. The first time I heard that, I was like, German isn't that hard. But then I realized, no, that it's really bloody hard. The reason why I didn't struggle with learning German is because I grew up in Switzerland. In the German part of Switzerland, more specifically. Every time I turned on the TV as a kid, everything was in German. When I then started to learn how to read, everything was in German. I never had to in-depth study German. I never had to try to think outside the box because German was just my default. The thing is, German is really bloody hard if you try to explain to somebody why German does the way that German does. I'm gonna go ahead and give you some examples that make me, as a German native speaker, think, what the fuck, German? Because trust me, those cases exist for us native speakers too. One of the first things that you will be confronted with when learning German or starting to learn German is der, die und das. Articles. Artikel. I knew that. I was about to call them articles. Ooh boy. Every single noun is categorized into der, die, or das. Der is masculine, die is feminine, and das is for object. Sounds pretty simple, right? So pretty much like if there's a cat and it's a female cat, it's die Katze. And if it's a male cat, it's der Katze, right? Wrong. Even just random ass household objects can have different particles. So for example, die Wasserflasche, feminine. Der Strohhalm, which just splattered water everywhere. Das Wasser, das Mobiltelefon, die Mobiltelefonhülle, die Kopfhörer, das Buch. Literally every single noun in German has got a der, die, oder das in front of it. That's kind of how kids are taught to distinguish what a noun is. If you could put der, die, or das in front of it, it's a noun. And then your little child brain will go, that makes everything so much easier, oh my god. Also in Switzerland, I remember that nouns, you always had to mark them with brown. Adjectives were yellow and verbs were green. That only has relevance to you if you are in like the first grade. So if you're learning German and you're learning loads and loads of vocab, you're gonna learn the noun with the article in front of it, because that makes sense. Das Haus, die Schule, der Balkon. The problem is the article changes depending on the Kausus, der Fall. I fucking hated this when we got to a stage in school where we had to say, oh yes, it is this article because it's this Fall. Fucking hated it. I was terrible at it and I still can't do it. I can speak fluent German and I can't tell you why the fuck the article behaves the way that it does. Can't tell you, I just know how to use it. That's all I need to want to know. That's all I want to know. How to correctly use it, and if I do use it correctly, perfect. I don't need to know the background story as to why and how the fucking... Ugh, no, I just need to know, am I using it correctly? Yes, great. I'm gonna go ahead and give you an example as to how the article changes of a noun depending on the fucking causes. A really standard sentence would be, ich gehe in die Schule. Die Schule. Let's say I want to put that into past tense, and suddenly the article changes. Ich war in der Schule. Wait, der Schule? I thought it was die Schule. Exactly. Why does it all of a sudden become der Schule? That makes no sense. School is feminine, so why the frig is it all of a sudden der Schule? Why do you put the masculine form for what? I can't tell you why it all of a sudden became der Schule when we all know that the standard, normal, perfectly good form is die Schule. Schule is feminine. I can't bloody tell you why it's all of a sudden der Schule. And I'm a native German speaker. I can't bloody tell you why. Sometimes people online will ask me things and I'm like, I'd love to help you, but I've got no fucking clue. So there's like four causes. There's Nominativ, Dativ, Genitiv, and Accusativ. Can I distinguish between the 4 of them? No. Can I tell you which one is used which way? No. I remember in my finals exam, I had to be able to do that. I studied really hard for like a month in advance, and then as soon as I walked out of the exam, everything was just right out of my brain. Another thing that Germans do automatically without actually realizing that they do it, which greatly annoys beginner levels of German speakers, is we like to shorten things. I feel like every single language does this. As an English speaker, you're not going to say, oh, I do not like coffee. You will probably just say, I don't like coffee. Don't instead of do not. In German, we do the same thing. Let's say I'm trying to buy a chair. I would tell you, ich kaufe einen Stuhl. That is the standard form that you would learn as a not native German speaker. That's the form that you would get taught. But a German native might actually just say, ich kaufe einen Stuhl. I don't really have like an explanation for that as well. we're lazy. A lot of my friends at school were not German speakers natively. They had to learn German. If you're an English speaker trying to learn German, this might be the first time that you're confronted with politeness levels. In the German language, there's 2 types of politeness levels. You can either be per Sie oder per Du. Sie being the formal one and Du being the informal one. If the other person is older than you, or you don't know them very well, or this is the first time that you're meeting them, you will always talk to them in a more polite way and say, Sie, können Sie mir sagen, wo? Instead of, kannst du mir sagen, wo, blah, blah, blah. If you're talking to this person for quite a while or quite frequently, even as like business partners or something, one of the people might actually come forward and say, oh, you know, you can just call me by my first name. You don't have to use the Sie form anymore. Sie is always used with the last name. It would be kind of weird. Du, Herr Heinz. That doesn't work. The next one still messes with my life on a daily basis, which is the 3 different types of das. For this video, I did a little Google search, and apparently this one here doesn't even exist anymore. This one's basically just leftovers, but technically this one is never correct anymore, so we're just gonna like get that one out of our brain. But if you're wondering on how to pronounce this letter here, it's an S. It's a sharp S. Not that you're gonna really be able to hear it, because das and das is pronounced the exact same way. I'm gonna try to explain the das rule to you in hopes that it's gonna help to stick in my brain as well. This would have helped for my finals exam, but oh well. So apparently, according to Google, das is always wrong. You are to use this das if you can replace it with dieses, jenes oder welches. If you can't replace it with dieses, jenes oder welches, it's this das. Fun fact, in Switzerland, we've always only had these 2. This one was never even fucking relevant. I didn't even know how to read this here letter until I went to freaking college here in Switzerland. So these are the things that I've noticed about the German language, you know, thinking back and comparing with different languages that I've learned over the years. And I find it fascinating that I never even had thought of them as like difficult or strange before. But when comparing with other languages, you just start to notice these things. Let me know if you've noticed any different inconsistencies in the German language, even if it comes to like spelling. There's different spelling for things. Like even this freaking letter doesn't exist in Switzerland. We always just write it with either just 1 or 2 S's. So this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can stick around till when I make a new one. I hope you drink lots of water, get lots of sleep, and this is the end. Bye!